single dad CEO, sends his daughter to a music camp by mistake and finds a woman who steals his heart. Life has a funny way of surprising us when we least expect it. Sometimes, the smallest mistakes lead to the most profound discoveries, moments that change everything we thought we knew about ourselves and the world around us. This is one of those stories. It's about Stephen Walker, a single dad and overworked CEO who had his life mapped out in spreadsheets and boardroom agendas. But all it took was a simple mix-up, a wrong registration form, to send him spiraling into an unexpected journey of love, healing, and second chances. What happens when a man whose world revolves around logic and control finds himself face to face with something as unpredictable as music? And what happens when he meets someone who strikes a chord deep within his heart, forcing him to confront emotions he'd long buried? The story begins on a crisp Saturday morning with Stephen pulling up to what he thinks will be a tech-savvy coding class for his 10-year-old daughter Lily. He's already running late, his mind buzzing with deadlines and unanswered emails. As he steps out of his sleek black SUV, though, confusion washes over him. Instead of the modern learning center he envisioned, there's a quaint brick storefront, adorned with colorful posters of musical notes and instruments. Above the door hangs a hand-painted sign, "Creative Piano and Expression for Kids." This can't be right, Stephen mutters under his breath, scrolling through his phone to double-check the details. Beside him, Lily peers out from the passenger seat, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Dad, this looks fun. Is this really where I'm supposed to go?" Fun wasn't exactly what Stephen had in mind. From the moment they step inside, the atmosphere feels foreign yet oddly inviting. The faint scent of lavender mingles with the sound of distant piano melodies floating through the hallway. At the front desk stands Olivia Harper, the program director, a woman whose calm confidence immediately catches Stephen's attention, even if he doesn't want to admit it. When she greets them warmly, explaining the mix-up with the registration, Stephen bristles. A music class for advanced skills. This wasn't part of the plan. Yet before he knows it, Lily is tugging at his sleeve, pleading to stay just for today. Reluctantly, he agrees, but not without a warning glare at Olivia. "Don't fill her head with fairy tales," he says firmly. Little does he know, fairy tales have a way of finding you when you least expect them. As weeks pass, Stephen starts noticing subtle changes, not just in Lily, but in himself. Every Tuesday afternoon, while waiting in his car outside the studio, he finds himself glancing up from his laptop to watch her through the window. There's something different about the way she sits at the piano, her fingers hesitating but determined, her face glowing with concentration. And then there's Olivia, always moving quietly between students, offering encouragement with a gentle tap on the side of the piano or a reassuring nod. One day, she invites him inside. "You could come in, you know," she says with a smile. She would love that. Hesitant at first, Stephen eventually gives in, sitting awkwardly in the back of the room among giggling children and bright posters. But when Lily turns and sees him, her whole face lights up. That look stays with him long after they leave, lingering, like the final note of a song. Olivia becomes more than just Lily's teacher. She becomes a mirror reflecting parts of Stephen he hasn't seen in years, or maybe ever. Through their conversations, he learns about her own struggles growing up, her dreams of opening a community music center, and her belief in the transformative power of creativity. She listens intently when he talks about the pressures of being a single father, never judging, only understanding. Meanwhile, Lily blossoms under Olivia's guidance, discovering a passion for music that seems to awaken something deeper within her. For the first time in months, maybe even years, Stephen hears her laugh freely again. It's a sound that fills him with both joy and guilt, reminding him of how much he's missed in his quest to keep everything under control. But life isn't kind enough to let Stephen off the hook so easily. Just as things start falling into place, chaos erupts in the form of a failed product launch at work. Suddenly, the demands of his job consume every waking hour, leaving little room for anything or anyone else. Texts go unanswered, lessons are missed, and the spark that once lit up Lily's playing begins to fade. Olivia notices too, her worry turning into frustration as she watches Lily retreat into herself. One rainy evening, after dropping Lily off at home, Olivia confronts Stephen, standing on his doorstep. Soaked to the bone, she delivers words that cut straight to his core. She doesn't need the best, Stephen. She just needs you. Even if it's messy, even if you're tired, even if you're late, those words haunt him, echoing in his mind long after Olivia leaves. The house feels emptier now, quieter, as though the music that once filled it has been replaced by silence. Lily no longer begs to practice, and the piano sits untouched, gathering dust. Stephen realizes too late what he's lost. Not just his daughter's trust, but also the connection he had begun to build with Olivia. Desperate to make amends, he writes a heartfelt letter, pouring out apologies and promises he hopes aren't too late. Then, one morning, he takes Lily back to the studio, praying it's not too late to fix what's broken. What happens next sets the stage for a turning point, not just for Stephen and Lily, but for Olivia as well. As Stephen steps into the studio, guitar case in hand, ready to apologize publicly to everyone, the air crackles with anticipation. Will Olivia forgive him? Can Lily find her way back to the joy she once felt at the piano? And most importantly, can these three people, brought together by chance, create a harmony strong enough to withstand the challenges ahead? The answers lie just beyond the next note, waiting to unfold in a melody that's still being written. Stay tuned for the next chapter of this soul-stirring story, where love, forgiveness, and the magic of music weave together to create something truly unforgettable. If you've ever wondered how life's detours can lead to its greatest treasures, this is the story for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a moment of this beautiful journey. Because sometimes, the sweetest songs are the ones we never saw coming. As the weeks turned into months, Stephen found himself caught in a whirlwind of emotions he hadn't anticipated. The music lessons that began as a reluctant compromise had become something far more significant, not just for Lily, but for him too. He noticed how Olivia seemed to understand people on a level he never could. Her patience and empathy creating ripples of change, not only in his daughter's life, but also in his own. Yet, despite these growing connections, Stephen couldn't shake the gnawing guilt of neglecting his responsibilities at work. His world was splitting into two: the structured, high-stakes environment of corporate leadership and the chaotic, heartfelt chaos of parenting and newfound friendships. At first, Stephen thought he could balance both. He attended Lily's performances sporadically, sent encouraging texts when he missed her practices, and even tried to squeeze in coffee with Olivia during lunch breaks. But cracks began to form. A major product launch went awry due to a critical software glitch, leading to angry investors and sleepless nights. Board meetings stretched longer. Deadlines loomed closer. And soon, Stephen wasn't just missing piano classes. He was missing entire afternoons with Lily. She stopped asking about his visits, retreating into herself instead. Her once bright enthusiasm dimmed, replaced by quiet resignation. Even her playing became mechanical, lacking the soulful spark Olivia had nurtured so carefully. Olivia saw it all unfolding before her eyes. It broke her heart to watch Lily withdraw, especially knowing how much joy music had brought her initially. She tried reaching out to Stephen multiple times, texts, calls, emails, but they went unanswered. Frustration bubbled beneath her calm exterior. One rainy Thursday evening, after dropping Lily off at home, Olivia confronted him directly, standing soaked on his doorstep. She didn't mince words. "She doesn't need the best, Stephen," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "She just needs you. Even if you're tired, even if you're late, just be there." Stephen stood frozen, rain dripping from his hair, shame washing over him. He wanted to argue, to explain how impossible his workload felt, but the truth hit him hard. He'd let fear dictate his actions. Fear of failure, fear of not being enough. And now, because of it, he was losing pieces of what mattered most. That night, as he sat alone in his study, staring at photos of Rachel, memories flooded back. Their laughter, her gentle hands guiding Lily through simple melodies, the warmth of a family united by love. For the first time, Stephen allowed himself to grieve fully, to confront the emptiness Rachel's passing had left behind. Music, he realized, wasn't just notes on a page. It was memory, connection, healing, and he'd been shutting it out. Determined to make amends, Stephen wrote a heartfelt letter to Olivia, pouring out his regrets and promises. When he returned to Melody Makers the following week, guitar case in hand, he was ready to apologize publicly to everyone. Inside the studio, however, Olivia wasn't there. A receptionist informed him she was on leave, adding cryptic remarks about needing space. Stephen's heart sank, but he refused to give up. He left an envelope containing Lily's original sheet music and his letter, hoping it would reach her. Days passed without a response. Stephen threw himself into preparing for the upcoming family recital. Determined to prove his commitment, with Olivia absent, he took charge of rehearsing with Lily every evening, relearning chords he hadn't touched since college. Their living room transformed into a practice space, filled with laughter, frustration, and moments of pure magic. Slowly, Lily began opening up again, her fingers dancing across the keys with renewed confidence. Still, the absence of Olivia lingered like a shadow over their progress. Unbeknownst to Stephen, Olivia read his letter repeatedly, tears streaming down her face. She wrestled with doubt. Could she trust him again? Could she forgive him for letting fear overshadow love? Despite her reservations, hope stirred within her. The next day, she returned to Melody Makers, finding Stephen waiting anxiously outside. Their reunion was raw and emotional, each word heavy with meaning. "I owe you and Lily an apology," Stephen began, addressing not just Olivia, but the entire studio. "I let fear come between me and the people I love most. I don't want to lose either of you." The tension melted slightly as Olivia accepted his apology, though neither of them knew what lay ahead. Together, they prepared for the recital, deciding to perform Moon River as a trio, a symbol of their journey toward harmony. Rehearsals grew intense, yet joyful, blending nerves with anticipation. Each note they played together wove another thread into the tapestry of their lives. By the time the big night arrived, the air buzzed with excitement and unspoken questions. Would this performance mark the beginning of something new? Or would old fears resurface, threatening to unravel everything they'd worked so hard to rebuild? As Stephen adjusted the microphone on stage, his gaze shifting between Lily and Olivia, he felt a strange mix of terror and peace. This wasn't just any performance. It was a declaration of love, forgiveness, and second chances. The spotlight fell on them, and the room fell silent. Stephen took a deep breath, his voice steady as he introduced the song. "This is about finding your way," he said, looking at Olivia. "About connection and the melodies that bind hearts together." As the first chord rang out, the audience leaned forward, captivated. What happened next would forever change the course of their lives. As Stephen adjusted the microphone on stage, his hands trembled slightly. The spotlight felt heavier than he expected. But when he glanced at Olivia and Lily standing beside him, their eyes filled with trust and love, he found his footing. "This song," he began, his voice steady despite the nerves, "is about finding your way, about connection and the melodies that bind hearts together." With those words, they began to play. Olivia's voice rang out soft, yet rich, like a whispered promise. Stephen's guitar chords followed, grounding the melody with warmth, while Lily's piano danced lightly over them, innocent and pure. Together, their harmony was more than music. It was a reflection of their journey, brokenness stitched back together with love. The room fell silent as the final note faded into the air, hanging there like a fragile thread before dissolving into applause. People stood, cheering, some wiping away tears. Backstage, after the performance, Stephen turned to Olivia, his expression raw and open in a way it had never been before. "Thank you," he said simply, his voice thick with emotion, "for bringing music back to Lily's life and to mine." Olivia squeezed his hand, her smile radiant. "Music heals," she replied softly, "and I think it brought us here for a reason." But just as the night seemed perfect, an unexpected twist unfolded. As they packed up their instruments, a man approached them, someone Stephen recognized instantly. It was Marcus Lane, one of his former business partners, whose company had recently filed for bankruptcy. Stephen tensed, unsure what to expect. "Stephen," Marcus said, extending a hand cautiously, "I wanted to apologize for everything. And I heard about this place, Melody Makers. What you've done here, donating those keyboards, supporting these kids. It made me realize something. Maybe success isn't just about profits or power. Maybe it's about impact." The moment was surreal, almost too good to be true. For years, Stephen had carried resentment toward Marcus, blaming him for past failures. But now, standing in a room buzzing with the energy of youngs, musicians, he saw things differently. He shook Marcus's hand firmly, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders. "We all make mistakes," Stephen admitted. "What matters is how we move forward." That exchange marked the beginning of reconciliation, not just between two men, but within Stephen himself. In the weeks that followed, Stephen and Olivia poured their energy into expanding Melody Makers. They secured funding through the Harmony Heart Scholarship Program, transforming the small studio into a vibrant community hub. Children from all walks of life flocked to the center, eager to learn and create. Among them was a shy boy named Ethan, who reminded Olivia so much of herself. At that age, watching him sit at the piano, tentatively pressing keys, she felt a surge of hope. Music had saved her once. Perhaps it could do the same for others. Meanwhile, Lily continued to flourish under Olivia's guidance. Her original compositions became a centerpiece of the recitals, earning praise not just for their technical skill, but for their emotional depth. One evening, as she practiced a new piece, Stephen sat nearby, strumming his guitar. "You know," he said thoughtfully, "you're turning into quite the artist." Lily grinned, her fingers pausing mid-air. "Thanks, Dad. You're getting pretty good yourself." their laughter echoed through the house, filling spaces that had once been silent. A year later, the trio stood together again, this time in a sunlit hall, surrounded by family, friends, and students. The occasion was special, not only because it marked the anniversary of Melody Makers, but also because it was the day Stephen and Olivia officially became a family. As Lily played her newest composition, a soft, heartfelt melody, the room hushed, in awe. When the final note lingered in the air, she turned to Olivia, her voice clear and full of emotion. "I've waited a long time to say this," she declared into the microphone. "I love you, Mom." Olivia's breath caught, tears streaming down her face as Lily ran into her arms. Stephen joined them, wrapping both in a tight embrace. It was a moment none of them would ever forget. A culmination of pain, perseverance, and love. Later that evening, amid gentle music and candlelight, Stephen raised his glass. "This isn't just a celebration of love," he said, looking around the room at the faces of those who had become their extended family. "It's a celebration of healing, of hope, and of second chances." As the months passed, the impact of their work rippled outward. The Harmony Heart Scholarship grew, reaching more schools and communities. Stories poured in from parents whose children had discovered confidence, joy, and purpose through music. Yet the real magic always happened at home. On quiet Sunday afternoons, the living room came alive with laughter, debate over tempo, and impromptu jam sessions. Sometimes the notes were clumsy, sometimes off-key, but always together. In those moments, perfection didn't matter. What mattered was the harmony between their hearts, built not on sheet music, but on love, forgiveness, and the courage to keep playing even after a missed beat. One golden evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Olivia watched Stephen and Lily argue playfully over who had gone off tempo. During their latest creation, she closed her eyes, letting the sound of their laughter and music wash over her like a warm breeze. This was their song now, a melody unique to them, woven from trials, triumphs, and countless shared moments. And as long as they kept playing, no matter the challenges ahead, they would find their rhythm again. Because life, like music, is beautiful, not because it's flawless, but because it's real. Thank you for joining us on this soul-stirring journey of love, healing, and second chances. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that even the most unexpected detours can lead to the most beautiful harmonies, then stay with us. There are countless more stories waiting to inspire and connect us, all centered on resilience, kindness, family, and the quiet power of love. Subscribe to Soul Stirring Stories and turn on notifications so you never miss a tale that might warm your heart or bring a tear to your eye. Here, we don't just tell stories, we touch souls. See you in the next one.